Joining us now is one of the players, of course, Brad Wall, Premier of Saskatchewan. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell me, first of all, my goodness, Saskatchewan, 1,000 layoffs.
Right.
This is not what we've heard from Saskatchewan in the last little while.
Right.
So things are not as good as they were in our western provinces. What can you say about that?
Well, we're not immune, obviously, to what's going on. Commodity prices have fallen and significantly in the case of energy, but there's still underlying strength. There's 5 chartered banks in the Conference Board of Canada that are saying Saskatchewan will lead the country in economic growth. The layoffs you've talked about are notice of potential layoffs. Now, again, we're not naive. We know we're going to suffer the impact of lower commodity prices, but there's still a labor shortage and there's still some underlying strength. And when we're here, though, at this meeting of the premiers, our message is to the federal government that we're not immune in the West. And in order for us to continue to perhaps drive some opportunity and growth, we too need to look at stimulus. We are in Saskatchewan in terms of infrastructure investment, potentially accelerating what we were going to do, certainly increasing the amount that we were going to originally do, and we're asking the federal government to do the same thing.
So, and you have said, tell me why you have said that you can't just come to the feds, that you've got to be involved as well in terms of at the provincial level. Is your ask going to be tempered by what you can match?
Well, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a dollar-for-dollar matching. I just think it makes good sense and it's good form for the provinces, and I can't speak for anyone but Saskatchewan, to say, look, we're doing this. We're accelerating and increasing infrastructure. We're going to make strategic investments. We lower taxes in the fall. We're doing the right things with respect to debt reduction, and because of that, we think there's an opportunity for partners from the federal government. We're not asking them for anything that we're not prepared to do ourselves.
Is there going to be less squabbling this time, given what's gone on?
There's a lot of consensus. We've met already, the premiers have at the Council of the Federation. There's consensus around increased infrastructure investment, acceleration, consensus around avoiding duplication in some of the regulatory regimes of the environment so that projects can proceed on infrastructure. And I think there's a chance for real progress here. There's also the message from the premiers that we need to be even-handed as we seek to help sectors. There's the cattle sector in Western Canada that has been under stress for years. That needs to be a part of any consideration for sector help, and there's consensus about that as well.
How high are expectations here? Ask Mayor Miller this. I mean, it just seems that whatever the level is, whatever the town is or the province, there are a lot of expectations on this budget.
Well, the challenge is great. I mean, we're in uncharted waters here as a country, and though in our province we're still seeing some growth and forecasted to see it continue, the predictions of growth have decreased, and we know that just the scope of the challenge we face. And so in the face of that kind of a challenge, I think the public, Saskatchewan people, Canadians, have the right to expect some bold actions from their leaders, and that's what we're here hopefully to help achieve in advance of the federal budget.
Westerners okay with big deficits? I don't think so.
Well, I've said they're like potato chips. It's hard to stop at just one. So we'll just speak for ourselves and go with balanced budgets, but not.
But I'm being facetious, but that does bother people, does it not?
Well, it does. We're going to continue with balanced budgets. That's our target. We'll have reduced the debt by 40% in our first year in Saskatchewan, and we think that's also important for us to be strong on the other side of this malaise as an economy. But obviously, each jurisdiction has to make their own decisions.
Is there a sticking point here, or what will the sticking point be from your prediction?
With respect to the dialogue with the federal?
Meeting, yeah.
Well, there's not unanimity. There's not consensus on every single issue, but on the most important pieces, there is consensus. And I think on the part of the federal government as well, and that's infrastructure, that's doing the right things in terms of labor mobility and interprovincial trade, and ensuring that we're not duplicating unnecessarily regulation that would hold back these infrastructure projects. There's a willingness to support the federal government to be vigilant as it tries to increase to relieve the credit crunch, to increase liquidity of cash in the economy. There's support for them to continue to do that. So there is lots of consensus to build on, and I'm hopeful about tomorrow, and obviously we're waiting for the federal budget later this month.
Premier Wall, thanks for being here, and I think it's colder here than it is on the prairies.
It might even be a dry cold here,
It's a damp cold. It goes right through. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.